This is episode 700, and I'm Greg Swanson, coming to you from very snowy Colorado Springs. So, which calls for daily habits for mental resilience. With the amount of snow we're getting here, I really need to dig into my mental resilience. Let's dive into a journey that I'm really passionate and excited about, and that's building mental resilience, especially through daily habits. Mental strength will produce mental resilience, and there's a lot of other byproducts with that. But today, I just want to focus on the mental resilience part of it. Mental resilience might sound like a big concept, right? Something only for super disciplined athletes, philosophers, business people. But here's the truth, really. Anyone can build mental resilience by focusing on small, everyday actions. These daily habits for mental resilience that we're going to go through will help you grow stronger, more grounded, and better prepared for whatever life throws your way. And the key is you don't wait till you're thirsty to dig a well. You don't wait till you have to build, you don't wait till you have to use mental resilience to use it. You want to build it before you have to. And so let's take a closer look at 7 daily habits for mental resilience that you can start today. So there's 7 of them. You could do 1 a day for a week, so you'd have a week. But let's just go through some of these. And I'm sure you've heard these in my podcast and other ones, but hopefully I'll put a different spin on them. Right? You want to start with intentional mornings. That is, like for myself, I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I do a half-hour meditation. I get ready for the gym. I go to the gym. I come back, shower, breakfast, and then I start doing my creative, my proactive work. That my morning routine is very intentional. Now, I'm not asking you to get up at 3 o'clock, but when we wake up and roll around and check our phone and check social media and have whatever we want and don't get our body moving, that's not intentional. The part of a morning routine or an intentional morning is to energize us, focus us, and create a mindset of gratitude. So we want to start with intentional mornings. And it doesn't have to be something big. It could just take 3 minutes. Can you meditate for a minute? Can you do a yoga stretch for a minute? Can you drink your water? Right. All of these are intentions, right? And that also led, as I mentioned, to practicing gratitude. So here's the interesting thing. I'm going to go on a side note here, is that we have this part of our brain called the reticular activating system, and it gets programmed to allow only certain bits of information. We are exposed to 2,000 bits of information, and we actually can see here about 227 bits of information. So how does our conscious mind know which bits to drop out and which ones to keep? Well, it's by our reticular activating system. And how does the reticular activating system get programmed? It's through self-talk and what we pay attention to. So if you're watching the news or watching something that is so horrible, you're programming your mind to see only the bad things that are happening. So when we practice gratitude, we actually rewire our brain to see all the wonderful things that are happening in our life. And this will help develop that mental resilience, right? If we don't have it and we're focusing on everything that goes wrong, we're going to be depressed, we're going to get frustrated, we're going to get angry. But when we can practice on gratitude and rewire our brain to let only the good things in that is happening to us, because there's a ton of them, then we can tap into our mental resilience to keep moving when we do hit some obstacles. So this concept of gratitude isn't just write it down and feel good. You're actually rewiring your brain to allow all the good things, the prosperous things, into your awareness so that you can tap into your mental resilience. So we also want to build a routine for physical exercise. I include mine in my intentional mornings. You may find it better for lunch. You may find it better when you come home from work. But we need to have that physical exercise because it's through the physical that we can develop the mental resilience, the mental strength. Because when we don't do something physical, we there's no way to build it, right? There's no way to build our physical strength or our mental resilience. So we want to be involved in physical exercise and actually push ourselves a little bit each day. So if you did 20 minutes of a treadmill, then maybe do the incline for 7 and drop it back. Play around with it, but we want to push ourselves because the easiest place to push ourselves is when we have physical activities. It might be a little bit daunting if you want to push yourself and ask for a raise or go for an interview for a level that you think is 3 jumps ahead of you. But what we can do is practice developing our mental resilience by pushing ourselves while we're doing physical exercise. And when we do that and then come back to it later, we can say, hey, I survived CrossFit. I did this swim. I did Spartan. I did this. I certainly can look for a new job. So this is where this is going to help with mental resilience. Train your mind through mindfulness and or meditation. So mindfulness is being here now. And that can be if you're sitting with someone, you put your phone away. If you are eating your food, you taste your food. You are aware of the texture, the flavor, the temperature. You're aware of everything. That is mindful eating. Mindful conversations is you're looking at the person in the eye. You're listening to what they're saying. You're not listening to respond. You're listening to what they're saying. You're trying to get a sense of where they are. Meditation, on the other hand, is more going inward. Well, mindfulness eating is going inward, but meditation, and there's tons of them, right? There's a lot of people believe that you have to sit there for 30 minutes, but you can't. Like 1 minute meditation. Breathe in for the count of 6, or breathe in for the count of 4. Exhale to 6. That's 10 seconds. Do that 6 times. That's a 1 minute meditation. So there are numerous ways of doing it. Don't get yourself trapped into thinking you have to do it for 10, 20, 30 minutes. Allow yourself to use the time that you're comfortable with to create a mindfulness or meditation program. And when we work with it, right, so mental resilience is in the mind. And the mind is the brain in action. So the brain is the physical part. The mind is its byproduct, if you will. And the way we develop the resilience in our mind is by doing things more in the mind, right? So we're talking about rewiring your brain, intentional mornings, mindfulness meditations, and even physical exercise, because we're going to do that self-talk. So let's move on here. So challenge yourself with daily goals, right? Challenge is one of the 4 C's of mental strength, and we want to challenge ourselves. And that can be in the form of pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone, maybe volunteering for a presentation at work, maybe talking to a stranger, maybe doing 5 more cold calls if you're in sales, whatever that looks like. And it may also be challenging yourself to say no to things. Right? A lot of us at work, we just don't know how to say no. We don't set up our boundaries. So maybe your challenge is to say no to certain things and focus on what you want. But whatever it is, we want to feel that uncomfortableness and then know that we're going to survive it so we can feel it again and again and move beyond it. So we want to disconnect. I take the weekends off. Always Sunday, maybe a little bit of Saturday morning, I catch up on stuff. But from then on, I disconnect. I don't check my phone, of course, unless it's ringing, but I don't check social media. I don't do anything. I disconnect. And then I get outside and connect with nature, with walking around, with fresh air, with my life partner, I reconnect with that. So I disconnect because it's taken up space, and then I reconnect with the things that I want to do and I like to do, and it energizes me. And just the simple fact of disconnecting might be the challenge in number 5 that you have to do, is disconnect. Like, oh, I can't do it. Well, yeah, you can, you just don't want to. But then we can then reconnect during that disconnect time so that when we come back to our work, we can reconnect with a full battery. And then end your day with reflection. This is where journaling comes in so handy. And we're not talking about a diary. Dear diary, I saw this cute person, but we're not talking about that. We want to talk about maybe in your morning intentional, you said 3 things you want to accomplish that day. And then at the end of the day, you reflect on how well did you get those done? What was the obstacles? What was your thinking? How did you use it? These reflections points in the end of the day help us understand how we respond to certain situations, as well as how do we think, how do we move. And if we don't change the way we do things, things aren't going to change. So this reflection gives us feedback that we can put in an action plan, put a better intentional morning, do some gratitude, get some exercise, mindfulness. So the reflection can help support all the previous 6 items. So why these daily habits work? Why does things work, right? Well, here's the secret. Building mental resilience isn't about making huge life-changing actions. It's about the little intentional things we do each day that prepare us for life's ups and downs. When I talk to clients about mental strength, they want to have this big program on how to do it. I'm going, no, can you just wake up at 4:00 in the morning? No. Well, how about that? We'll start with that little thing, and that will help build your mental resilience, right? So when we constantly practice these daily habits I went through for mental resilience, you're training yourself to be mentally stronger, more grounded, and more adaptable. It's this concept of Kaizen, right? A little bit better every day. So we're not looking to go from mental sensitivity to mental strength overnight. What we are doing is building a foundation, one brick at a time. And after a year, you'll have 365 bricks supporting your mental resilience. So each of these habits help in a unique way, right? Intentional mornings give us a focused start. If you're new to this, just one or two of these habits a day will really benefit you in developing your mental resilience. So when you do it, see how they feel. Notice the difference they make in your day-to-day life, which means you journal at the end of the day. Building mental resilience is a journey, not a destination. You've heard me say that about many things on here. And just life, right? Life itself is a journey, not a destination. And so we will never be at mental resilience. We will never be at mental strength. We will never be totally mindful. That's why it's called a practice, not a perfect. All of these are practices, but when you practice every day, you build a foundation to do it better and better the next time. You'll have easy days and tough days, but the goal is to keep going, which is resilience, keep growing and getting stronger mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. So here's some final thoughts. Mental resilience isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Acknowledge the progress that you're making. By incorporating daily habits for mental resilience, you're investing in a stronger, more adaptable version of yourself. Adaptable is great, right? Things come to us, we can move around, we can go under through them. That's great. And these habits may seem small, but over time they do add up to big differences. Look at anybody, right? The compound effect of a penny a day doubled. Those are small things. At the end of a month, you'll have approximately 5 million, right? They're about creating a foundation that helps you not only survive life's challenges, but thrive through them and create a great story about them. So are you ready to build your mental resilience? I hope if you're listening to this podcast, if this is your first time or your umpteenth time, you are ready. And so I would presume that wouldn't now be a good time to build your mental resilience. So start with one habit and watch how day by day, you're not just building habits, you're building strength one step at a time. Every time you choose to show up, practice gratitude, or push past a comfort zone, you're becoming more resilient. Embrace these daily habits for mental resilience and enjoy the journey of growing stronger one day at a time. If you want to see the show notes on this podcast, you can visit warriormindcoach.com. While you're over there, you can find some more useful information in the form of blog posts and other podcasts, as well as contacting me for a breakthrough session. Since you'll be on the internet, please follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest under Warrior Mind Coach.